We did do a lot of legwork in the, in the kitchens and actually behind the scenes. And that's one of the greatest contrasts, where you go to one of these restaurants and in the front of house, it's all beautiful and very delicate and high class and serene, and the waiters are gliding around. You go through the kitchen doors and it's like noise, heat, sweat, everyone's working like crazy, and it's a completely different environment.
The public part of Gusteau's, the facade and the dining room, are really designed to make it look like the greatest French restaurant on earth. Beautiful pillars, classical French architecture, deep colors, saturated reds.
Really warm and inviting and appealing.
And a gilt everywhere. Contrasting that is the kitchen, which is all white tile and cast iron stoves and brass and copper. It's a much harder, clattery kind of environment.
And of course, we had to really learn how a kitchen runs and operates and what the language is. So my partner Mark and I went to the French Laundry and observed for an entire evening their operation. It's like a ballet. There's a choreography that happens there naturally. At French Laundry, they have a stainless steel bin or a cup that they'll throw a spoon in. They all cook with spoons. That's kind of the only utensil they use. And they're sitting in the hot water. And they'll take out the hot water, they'll tap it on a little cloth, and then they will maneuver whatever they need to maneuver around while they're cooking. They'll tap it on the cloth again and throw it back in the water. And on a super micro detail level, that's something I would never come up with had I just, come up in my mind how to animate a kitchen. I never would have known that or thought of it. They'd be using tongs and spatulas, and nobody uses that stuff. It's like, at least none of these guys did. It's all spoons.
When you're serving the dinner, you're meant to just replicate a dish exactly the way the chef wants it, over and over and over again, precisely. So you have to be super efficient in how you move. And it's a lot of what I've talked to the animators about, is that they're always sort of like on this adrenaline rush, and they're always moving. They're never sitting still. They're always tending to this, checking this in the oven, spicing this, listening for orders coming in. So it's just a constant motion. And at the end of the night, you're just utterly exhausted.
I really feel that it's a working kitchen, and how we got there is to do a lot of hand-painted texture maps. They're like newer pots, they're older pots, scratches, dings. You see the machining from the tin inside, and there's two different surfaces. There's a lot of different textures that add up to this one texture.
Cooking really fine food is a serious, hard, blue-collar thing done by tough people.
Chefs and cooks, actually, they come from these backgrounds that are like kind of sketchy.
They're like pirates.
All cooks have scars from burns and knife cuts.
I always thought that like a guy like LaRousse, he was part of this resistance, but that guy still lives with his mom.
Since Skinner is a Smurfish man, he gets like that extra little like bounce, so he's like tick, 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 tick. He's got a different rhythm.
Chefs in Paris kitchens are like artists.
Papadou is a big guy with big arms and a big belly.
With these huge hands, but he's able to do these really delicate things.
They're immigrants, a lot of them, especially in Paris.
There's Horst, the German, almost military type guy.
His face just seems squished down. It's like two bricks collided around a soft element, just like he was so frustrated that his face was sucking up into his head.
Our thing with Lalo, who's our fish chef, he's always like grooving to something, that he hears, no one else hears it.
So they've kind of all gravitated toward Paris, I think, for the work opportunities.
We were able to infuse, our CG chefs with these little mannerisms and details, as well as, I hope, get the tempo and the flavor of the kitchen.